Hey, what's up you guys, it's me Luke and welcome back to another video, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I post commentary and critique and reaction videos, basically just sharing my opinion on a bunch of stuff. So if any of that interests you, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe and turn on the post notifications bell so that you never miss another upload from me. Alrighty guys, so today's video is really exciting because it is my first ever collaboration with another YouTuber. Today's video is in collaboration with Hannah from Smokey Glow. Now if you don't know who Hannah is, she has another commentary channel here on YouTube. She posts kind of similar videos to me where she'll kind of like speak about influencer culture and speak on some kind of scandals that happen on the internet. But what I really like about her videos is she looks at things from a much broader point of view and kind of give a really good in-depth analysis of the entire situation that she's talking about. And she just always has an interesting perspective and different opinion from everybody else. So I always find myself enjoying her videos and kind of like looking at things from a different point of view. And her videos are just so entertaining.
Does this coat look weird here? I thought it would make it look cozy, but it kind of just looks like a rug. So Haley Pham came out with a new video and it was a story time, like styled like Tana Mongeau-esque story time. She managed to offend like 3 different groups of people with this video. If you don't know who the Ace family are, I'm gonna start this video off by saying this whole entire video is very much low-hanging fruit, okay? If you want a reason to dislike the Ace family, pick one.
We actually had a Skype call the other day where we were speaking about the stuff we wanted to speak about in this video, and we literally were speaking for like an hour and a half because we just would not stop talking and we lost track of time. And she is exactly like how she is in her videos. She's so lovely, such a great person to talk to. So I highly recommend you check out her videos. She also does makeup videos as well if you're into that. So yeah, if you want to check out Hannah's channel, I will go ahead and link her channel down below in the description, as well as her video on this topic so that you can go ahead and check it out after mine. And yeah, thank you for letting me be a part of your Glowmas series, Hannah. She uploads a video every single day of December, and I don't know how you do it, girl, but I love it. I'm enjoying it. Keep it up. Alrighty guys, so the topic that Hannah and I decided we wanted to go ahead and discuss today is influencers who get away with a lot. So today I'm going to be speaking about all these influencers who get away with a lot of problematic and shady things quite easily and why I think they do. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop right into it because I'm about to dive into these problematic influencers. Alrighty, so first of all, we have the king of problematic influencers, Jake Paul. Where do I even start with Jake Paul? Jake Paul has done so many problematic things that it would take me forever to list off all of them, but I'm just going to go ahead and speak about the general problematic nature of Jake Paul and the problematic things that he does. Now, first of all, Jake Paul's audience is comprised of children. You can see that through the spelling and grammatical errors in their comment section. You can see that through the fans that show up to his meet and greets, and just the way he addresses the camera in general, because I cannot believe that anyone over the age of 13 could sit through one of his videos. Now, that being said, even though his audience is so young, Jake Paul's content is very confusing to me because it's like supposedly aimed at children. You can tell by the way he yells at the camera and the way he just acts like a child himself in general. Yet his content should not be viewed by children. There's a lot of violence in his videos, a lot of pranks that lead to violence, a lot of sexual stuff, just a lot of stuff that I do not think that children should be viewing. And I just think that he's a bad influence on children in general. Now beyond that, Nerd City has made a really great video about how Jake Paul manipulates his young fans into purchasing his merch. Basically, he plugs his merch every 2 seconds and manipulates his young fans into thinking that they're not cool unless they cop some Jake Paul merch. And I just want to know why their parents are allowing them to watch Jake Paul, why their parents are purchasing this merch. I feel like a lot of parents are just lazy and don't really look into what their kids are viewing, but they really should, because I feel like YouTube should almost be like TV or movies. I don't know if there should necessarily be age classifications on it, but I definitely think that as a parent, you should be aware as to who your children are watching, and I don't think Jake Paul should be one of them, at least not for children under the age of like 13. Now, Jake Paul has done a lot of problematic things, but the one that strikes me the most, the one that I think that he got away with super easily, was him and a few other influencers like Rice Gum, I believe, were promoting this brand or this company or this website, I don't really remember the name of it, where their fans could go on and purchase these mystery digital boxes or something where they could potentially win certain prizes. And it was basically gambling for children, and it was a scam. And their fans were gambling, which I'm pretty sure is not even legal. You have to be over the age of 18 to gamble, and he's selling a gambling site to his young fans. And he got away with that so incredibly easily. I feel like not enough people spoke about it. I feel like not enough people spoke about it for as long as it should have been spoken about, and he didn't really get hit by anything. He didn't really lose subscribers. He didn't really apologize. And I feel like the biggest reason why Jake Paul can get away with a lot of problematic stuff is because his audience is so young and they don't realize when they're being manipulated or misguided and when he's doing something wrong. So he gets away with stuff super easily. And beyond that, something that Hannah and I spoke about during our Skype call was how a lot of these problematic influencers who get away with stuff easily, like Jeffree Star, Jake Paul, and Tana Mongeau, have had series done on them by by Shane Dawson. And this is a common thread that I see online, is I see a lot of people saying that Shane Dawson basically makes series about these problematic YouTubers so that people forgive them and move on from them. And basically Shane Dawson is like the golden ticket into resolving your scandal and improving the public's opinion of you. And I kind of definitely have to agree, because if you look at Jake Paul and Tana Mongeau and Jeffree Star, which I'll get into those other two just now, they all have such problematic past, and before their series with Shane Dawson were disliked by so many people, but then when Shane makes a series on them, all of a sudden public opinion of them starts to improve so much, even though a lot of the times I don't think it should, especially with Jake Paul, because I don't feel like Jake Paul has changed or improved. And even in Shane's series, a lot of people were sympathizing with him, which first of all could not be me, but in his series Shane was asking him these questions about like, do you think you manipulate your young audience, was this a lie, blah 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 blah. That entire series was a waste of absolute time. I actually made 2 videos about the Jake Paul series from Shane Dawson, so if you want to check those out, I'll link them down below, where I basically just speak about my thoughts on the series. But Shane Dawson asked Jake a lot of these questions, and Jake would basically just tiptoe around them and avoid answering them, and he basically just waffled for like an hour and a half, and Shane just wasn't hard-hitting enough. He wasn't persisting into getting these answers, so you're just left with a lot of unanswered questions, and it's like, okay, well, he's done all these problematic things, he's obviously not apologetic for them, but I guess we'll just forgive him, question mark. So yeah, basically I think Jake Paul got away with it because of his young audience and because he has the stamp of approval from Shane Dawson, the Oprah or the Dr. Phil of YouTube. Anyway, moving on from Jake Paul, let's just go ahead and speak about his wife, Tana Mongeau, or should I say Tana Paul. Are they even still married? I swear I like never see them together, unless it's like for clout purposes. Which, speaking of, their wedding seems like it was literally forever ago, when now that I think about it, wasn't it just like 2 months back? Yo, that was such a fever dream. I cannot believe that happened. If you want to see my reactions to the entire fiasco, I did a reaction series to Tana Turns 21. Check it out, link in the description. Anyway, Tana Mongeau. Tana Mongeau is an anomaly to most of the influencers that I'll be discussing today, because unlike the others, I actually kind of like Tana Mongeau, and I find her videos really entertaining. She's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me, because like I know she's problematic, but she's kind of like a car crash that you can't look away from, because it's like, ooh, like I know I shouldn't be looking at this, but like it's just so entertaining. Kind of like trashy reality TV. You know, like back in the day where you would watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians or Jersey Shore, just because like it's so trashy and fun to watch, but like you'd never admit it to anyone. Yeah, that's Tana Mongeau for me. But beyond that, Tana Mongeau has done a lot of problematic things. Now, to her credit, there are a lot of problematic things that she did that she got, for lack of a better word, punished for, and I don't think she was let off easy on some of those things in the past. Like, she said the N-word and iDubbbz exposed her back in 2017, and her channel was dying for ages. She was losing so many subscribers. She took quite a hit from that, and she did make an apology for that, and you know, she did say it back when she was 14 or whatever, not to excuse it, but she's definitely shown that she's changed and she hasn't said anything racist since then. But then after that, she had her TanaCon scandal, which was honestly one of the biggest disasters on the internet. Tana literally threw a convention on the same day as VidCon out of spite and just did not plan it properly at all. The venue was not big enough. The ticket sales were an absolute disaster. Nobody understood what was really going on. There were people outside burning to a crisp, dehydrating into a raisin, and fainting like your grandmother on her 99th birthday. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. I was like spitting bars there. I was having a moment. But anyways, TanaCon was an absolute disaster and could have derailed Tana Mongeau's entire career. But she had Shane Dawson, the Dr. Phil of YouTube, come to her rescue and make a docu-series on her. Now, the TanaCon series was kind of interesting, but once again, you were left with a lot of unanswered questions, which is a common theme in Shane Dawson's series, which we'll get into in another video. But basically, in that video, she did a lot of crying, did a lot of yelling at her business partner, Michael Weist. And yeah, we didn't really achieve much from that. But you know, to Tana's credit, she took a long break from social media. She did make a serious apology. I don't really know if the situation was handled super well. I don't know if people really got their refunds. Who really knows? You know, basically, I think she was let off kind of easily in that situation, but I don't think she was let off anywhere near as easily as she was with her other scandal, the Kenza Cosmetics scandal. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, it's probably because you remember the Gabby Hanna situation. Basically, Kenza Cosmetics was one of those brands that was doing that really shady marketing scheme where they would say, oh, we have too much stock of these products, you just pay for shipping and you can get them for free. And they would try and make you think that you were buying luxury makeup brushes that were like worth $100 when really they were worth like $1 or $2 and you would just pay $10 for shipping. And Gabby Hanna and Tana Mongeau promoted that website, and they obviously didn't look into it properly, and they were promoting these shady products to their fans. And then when their fans weren't receiving their products, and they were super shitty, we're literally just having their money stolen from them, Gabby Hanna came out and said, manage your expectations. allegations. She should have just apologized for that and moved on with her day, but instead Gabby Hanna said that, and it caused a massive controversy, and I think that's one of the reasons that Tana Mongeau was able to get away with doing the exact same thing as Gabby Hanna, because she also promoted Kenza Cosmetics, was because people were too busy focusing on Gabby Hanna and her shitty apology that everybody else was ignoring Tana Mongeau and the fact that she promoted the shady brand as well. But I think another reason that Tana Mongeau got away with promoting Kenza Cosmetics is because she didn't address it. She didn't apologize for it. She literally just promoted it and got her coin and kept her mouth shut and went on with her day, and so did everybody else. People just forget that Tana Mongeau did that, and she got away with that so easily. Now, speaking of influencers who just don't address stuff and don't apologize, our next problematic influencer is Nikita Dragun. Now, I'm sure a lot of you remember the first Dramageddon, but if you don't, I have an entire video describing everything that happened, so I'll go ahead and link that down below. But to make a long story short, basically what happened is Nikita Dragun, Manny MUA, Laura Lee, and Gabriel Zamora posted a picture giving the finger off to Jeffree Star and said, "Imagine standing a racist." And it was just after Shane Dawson's series on Jeffree Star, and the four of them got dragged to filth. Now, obviously, we know that some of Jeffree Star's stans are next level crazy, and basically they investigated and dug years and years back into the four of those influencers' Twitters and found a lot of racist things that the four of them said, and obviously a lot of people reposted them, and then Dramageddon 1 ensued. All of those influencers lost a ton of subscribers, but the two who really suffered the most was Manny MUA and Laura Lee. And that's interesting because those two are the only two out of the four who made apology videos. Obviously Gabriel Zamora's came, but it came much later on. But Laura Lee and Manny MUA made apology videos, and it just made the entire situation worse. Now, granted, their apologies were pretty bad, but at least they apologized, yet they're the ones who lost tons and tons of subscribers, and the career has never been the same. When really they did the same thing as Nikita Dragun. She's no better than them. She was exposed for saying a lot of racist things as well, and she just didn't address it and didn't make an apology video on it. She said like a few words on her Instagram story, basically saying like,
"I was younger back then, that was before I transitioned, I'm a totally different person now. Anyways, thanks guys, love my dragons."
And she just got away with it that easily. The girl is thriving better than ever, hanging out with Kylie Jenner. I don't even really know what she does, to be honest, besides posting pictures of herself on Instagram, but she's thriving. Meanwhile, Manny MUA and Laura Lee have never recovered. And I just think that's interesting because a lot of the times we see that influencers who apologize often get dragged to filth, yet these influencers like Nikita Dragun and Tana Mongeau just ignore it and don't apologize, and they get away with it, which is interesting because you would think that apologizing for your actions would be the good thing to do, but it's almost like people don't want an apology. But I think a lot of the times it's just because the apologies that these influencers give are often really shitty, to be honest. They usually do their notes apology app video, or they do the gray hoodie sitting on the ground, no makeup, crying apology video, and they just don't do a good apology. And also I feel like a lot of the times influencers need to understand that when you do something problematic, you can't just make an apology video and expect people to forgive you overnight. You need to give it time. So I think an issue as well is influencers who make an apology and then make another apology and another apology, and they just don't shut up about it. I remember Manny MUA made like 2 or 3 apology videos, and really he should have just made one good one and stuck to that and shown and proved that he had changed. But beyond that, that doesn't negate the fact that I think it's very interesting that Nikita got out of that situation scot-free when she didn't even apologize for her racist behavior. But anyway, moving on to our next problematic influencer, Jeffree Star. Now, I won't touch on this too much because I've spoken about Jeffree Star in my cancel culture video, which if you want to check that video out, I will link it down below. Now, obviously we know a few years back, Jeffree Star was exposed for his racist past, and he said a lot of derogatory things to people of color, including influencers like Jackie Aina, comparing them to a gorilla, which as we know is extremely rude and problematic. However, Jeffree Star had a docu-series made about him with Shane Dawson. I'm talking about the first docu-series where basically we kind of get Jeffree Star's sob story, and obviously, you know, Jeffree Star's a person and he's apologized, but I don't really know if Jeffree Star has completely changed, to be honest. He's kind of a nasty person. Like, we see him a lot of the time clapping back at people on Twitter. He's honestly rude to his fans who just have like the slightest critique ever. He will clap back at them and then his fans will attack them, and he just needs to learn when to kind of keep his mouth shut because he's got millions and millions of fans, and attacking one fan just for having a difference of opinion or for disagreeing with him is just extremely wrong and problematic, yet people just kind of let him get away with it. I feel like Jeffree Star is just kind of like, ooh, that's just him, like he's just sassy, whatever, when it's like, no, you're kind of mean, and a lot of people are okay with it. A lot of people think it's funny, and I don't. I really don't. But then again, like I said, Jeffree Star, like Tana Mongeau and Jake Paul, has had a docu-series done by him, by Shane Dawson, the Dr. Phil of YouTube, which basically public perception of him completely changed after that docu-series. Even with me it did. Like, I did kind of at that time feel so so bad for Jeffree because he was speaking about his past, which he has had a difficult past to his credit, but I still don't think that negates some of the stuff that he said or done. And unlike influencers like Tana Mongeau, who I personally do not believe to be a racist, with Jeffree Star, I don't really know. I really don't, because I mean, some of the stuff that he said and done and been exposed for that was not too long ago when he was, you know, not that young, just rubs me the wrong way. And I think that Jeffree Star is somebody who gets away with a lot. I mean, he's involved in every big drama there ever is. Like, he was involved in that first Dramageddon and the second Dramageddon, and he just inserts himself into so many situations. Like with the Bicester scandal with James Charles and Tati, Jeffree inserted himself into that where he didn't need to be, and he was extremely problematic. He was accusing this 19-year-old boy of doing all of these criminalistic things and saying that it was a factual thing. He's like, I don't lie, everything I say is for fact. But then in his series with Shane Dawson, he's like, no, I don't want to speak about anything that allegedly happened. I've moved on from that. Like, you can't just make these really harsh accusations towards somebody and then just be like, jokes, not gonna do that again, when really James Charles suffered greatly from that Bicester situation, and he wouldn't have suffered as much if it wasn't for Jeffree Star inserting himself into that situation. I actually have an entire video speaking about how problematic Jeffree Star was in that situation, so if you want to check that video out, I'll link it down below. But yeah, basically, I could go on about this for days, but Jeffree Star gets away with a lot of shady, problematic stuff, and I honestly can't really pinpoint the reason for it, other than the fact that he's got some hardcore fans, he's a very powerful man, and the fact that Shane Dawson made a docu-series on him, and he's like got his stamp of approval from the Dr. Phil of YouTube. I think if anybody gets a stamp of approval from Shane Dawson, everybody's like, okay, I guess we'll forgive you. I don't care what you did. We stand. You know what I mean? But anyway, moving on from Jeffree Star, let's move on to the queen of problematic influences, Trisha Paytas. Ooh, I have a lot to say about her. Okay, where to even begin with Trisha Paytas? Trisha Paytas is famous because a while ago when YouTube was first becoming a platform, Trisha Paytas posted a lot of trolling videos where she made her infamous videos like, do dogs have brains? Why men are better than women? And like, she made a lot of racist videos. She's done so much problematic stuff. Y'all, I could make an entire video about this girl and it could probably be an hour and a half long. Somebody should make a documentary video on her. But she did a lot of problematic stuff back then, and I think a lot of people let it slide or forgave it because she was trolling. But that still doesn't deny the fact that she did it. But speaking about some of the more recent problematic stuff that Trisha has done, the biggest one being her transgender video. So Trisha Paytas came out as transgender. However, in her video, she had a lot of contradictions, and she says that she's a transgender man who is gay, yet she dresses like a woman, acts like a woman, still goes by she and her pronouns, didn't change her name. Like, she does not present herself in any way, which or form as a transgender man. And even though I am not trans, a lot of people in the trans community have an issue with the way that Trisha Paytas went about this transgender thing. They feel as though it gave them a bad name and it doesn't look good on them, and I actually rarely agree because I feel like it's a very serious situation. And while Trisha Paytas says that she's trans, I'm sorry, like, I just don't believe her. Who knows, she might be, she really might, but I think that the way that she went about coming out was very problematic, and she made like 3 or 4 videos on it, and they were monetized. That is another thing, is maybe I wouldn't feel as strongly about this if it wasn't for her lying, because if you don't know, Trisha Paytas said that she didn't monetize that video, and she was just doing that because she wanted to speak her truth, and it wasn't for clout. Because that's the thing, is with Trisha Paytas, she does and says a lot of outrageous things for views and for clicks and for money, yet with this time she was like, no, this is different. Yet when she went on the H3 podcast, Ethan Klein went on her YouTube creator studio and saw that the video was in fact monetized, and she made $8,000 from her coming out video. But the fact that Trisha lied about that situation just shows to me that she cannot be trusted. And then after that situation, Trisha Paytas has her problematic incident with Gabby Hanna, and basically I think the thing is with Trisha Paytas is because she has so many controversies and so many problematic things, she gets away with it so easily because a lot of the time people don't really have enough time to really process what's happened with Trisha, because just when you're getting angry or upset with her first controversy, she comes out with another one, so you forget about that one and then focus on this one and forget about the previous one. And I think that's how she gets away with things so easily, as well as the fact that people just constantly assume she's trolling. I feel like Trisha Paytas is in a really interesting position where she is almost allowed to get away with stuff that a lot of other people wouldn't be because of her trolling nature and because of the fact that this is kind of what people subscribe to her for. People follow Trisha Paytas for the controversy. People follow her for the drama. They follow her to watch her cry on her kitchen floor and expose other influences and do problematic stuff. So I think a lot of the times people just aren't really surprised when Trisha Paytas does something problematic, and I think that's how she gets away with it. But anyway, moving on from Trisha Paytas, because like I said, could speak about her for hours on end, onto our final problematic influences. The influences in this video that I probably dislike the most out of all of them, the Ace family. Now, I'm not going to get into this too much because I've made 2 videos now on the Ace family, which like I said, I'll link it down below. I know there's a lot of videos linked down below, but basically all these influences in this video I've made videos on because they're that problematic. So if you want to know my more in-depth thoughts about them, definitely definitely check the description box because they'll all be linked down there. But anyway, the Ace family has done so many problematic things. I'm just gonna list off a few. So they've lied about their money going to certain charities. They've lied about giveaways. They've potentially faked a robbery. They have flooded their neighbor's backyard with no care or remorse whatsoever. They've had a cheating scandal. They have not paid editors or people that they've worked with properly. And on top of that, they're family vloggers. Now, if you've watched my 2 videos on them, you'll know how I feel about family vloggers. I think filming your children and exploiting your children for your personal gain and for you to make money is extremely horrible, and they're just so out of touch with reality. Oh, that's another thing. They like worked in a restaurant for a day and like was like, oh my god, this is so fun, like whatever. They're just so out of touch with reality in their giant mansion that's like 2 mansions combined that they just rub everyone the wrong way, and they're just extremely problematic, and they get away with so much stuff, which by the way, if they're watching this or their lawyers watching this, everything is alleged. Don't sue me. Just don't, okay? Like I have nothing to give. Anyway, moving on. But basically the Ace family gets away with so much problematic stuff, and I think it's basically the same reasoning that Jake Paul gets away with a lot of problematic stuff. They have a really young fan base that doesn't know what is right or wrong or when they're being manipulated. Save the children, protect the children, parents monitor your children. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. I know this video is probably really long, but there are honestly so many problematic influences on the platform and so many more that I could have spoken about in the video, but these are just the most prominent that I think get away with a lot of problematic stuff super easily. But anyway guys, that's it for me in this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and definitely comment down below what you think of the influences I spoke about in this video, or if there's any other influences you think get away with problematic stuff super easily. And definitely make sure you go ahead and check out Hannah's video from Smokey Glow. It will be linked in the description to hear her thoughts on the topic. I'm sure she has a lot of interesting ones as well. I cannot wait to watch her video. And as always, if you've not already, please make sure that you're subscribed and you have the post notifications bell on so that you never miss any videos from me. And as always, you can go ahead and follow me on any of my social media, which is just linked in the description below, as well as the link to my opinionated merch where I have 2 different shirts, a sweater and a hoodie, and they come in 4 different colors, so go ahead and cop yours today. Alrighty guys, that's it for me in this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my next one, and of course, I hope that you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Bye!